What's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P. Entertainment and K.L.P. Studios. It's K.L.P. Aftermath Morning with your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas and Rocco Styles.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Yep. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another exciting, and I do mean this, another exciting podcast. Yes. Let me tell y'all. I know the start of 2025 has already started. And I know a lot of people were very, very anticipating for us to do podcasting the very first day of January, or very first day of the year, January 1st. Y'all, that was the plan. But your boy's back into the studio. Hallelujah. Thank God. Praise God for healing energy. We got T up in the studio, and we are back here in the studio, the radio station, for another podcast. And I am so humbled to be back because the plan was, and this is something with God's work, T, when you want to make God laugh, you tell him what your plan is. And they're like, nope. So, as you guys know, I did the wrap-up podcast December 20-something of 2024, maybe the last day of December, maybe is when the video got uploaded. And that was a great podcast, right? About over an hour and 30 minutes long, right? It was a long podcast. It was a great podcast. And then my plan was to come back to the studio and to kind of give you guys a welcome to the new year. It's 2025, by the way. And my whole plan was to kind of come back with full energy, do this thing that we love doing, podcasting. And your boy got sick. I laugh at it now because I'm in great spirits and great health. I am so thankful for healing energy. I'll give you guys the full rundown of the story. Now, this podcast, I do have some topics of conversations and stuff, but like I missed the first 2 weeks of 2025 because I was in bed sick. So after we left the wrap-up podcast, we got home and my throat was numbing, right? I knew my throat was going to be numbing up a little bit. And I kind of did a dumb move, right? Because the couple days before we went to that mansion, a couple days before we went to celebrate the end of the year, my throat was numbing, right? It was numbing to the fact that, it was numbing, but, I didn't take it seriously. So your boy went to go work out. Shout out to Crunchnellville. We love y'all down now. Look at that. I love y'all. I love y'all. And we're natural on this podcast because I got to make sure that I get enough water intake in because that was part of it while I was sick, which is crazy. Which is crazy, T, because, I was drinking water a whole heck of a lot. And, they say, hey, you need to make sure you stay hydrated. I don't know. I thought I was hydrated, but it's a lot of water you got to intake. But we left. I went to the gym, throat was numbing, whatever. Then we went to the mansion. We did the final podcast wrap up. I got to say, when you guys go out and find a different location and stuff, you got to be careful because some places may not be clean. I had a good feeling that the place wasn't really 100% sterile and disinfected and clean. So when I got back, I got really sick. I got really sick. You guys know the normal. I thought it was a common cold, T. That's what I thought, y'all. I thought it was a common cold that I received, right? A little bit of nausea, a little bit of fatigue, coughing, got some mucus in, hey, I'm in bed. And I thought this was going to be okay. I'm in bed for 3 days. Let me just relax. And then, I'll feel better because you would think with me boosting my immune system and me going to the gym and exercising, you would think that I would be in tip-top shape after those 3 days. Nope. That was not the case, y'all. So I was in bed. I was watching House of Cards on Netflix. I was binge watching that. I was watching Too Hot to Handle. and I was catching up on my Prime Video movies and shows over on Prime. I'm watching this new, well, it's not new, but the latest season of the Sex Lives of College Girls or College Girls Sex Lives on Max. Good show, by the way. I was in bed, and luckily, my January engagements, one part of our plan for January, I got something cooking up in January. We're still waiting to hear word for it as of today. So that got delayed potentially. And I was supposed to film with my good friend Matt Mahoney. Shout out to him. I called him up and said, "Hey Matt, I can't do it. I'm sick. I can't film right now. I'm sick and I can't move. I'm fatigued. I'm tired. I just can't do it." So in bed, and let me tell y'all, when y'all in bed, all you can't when you have that sort of sickness, y'all, there's not really much you can do, right? There's not much you can do but watch Netflix and chill or watch a streaming show, lay up in bed. There's not much you can do. And all you can do is eat soup, right? Soup and tea. That's it. And Saturday comes around. A couple days before that, I was, waking up in the middle of the night, cold sweats, wasn't feeling so good, y'all. I was not feeling so good. So my sister, shout out to her, and I'm pretty sure she's watching this podcast episode. She said, "Hey, Lucas, you need to go see somebody, right? Because it's been over 3 days, it's been a full week, and you still not feeling good. You might need to go see somebody." So I packed my car up with myself and some water. I went to without getting too personal because I can't give you guys too much information because it's personal. But I ended up going to urgent care and I saw my doctor and I said, "Hey, it's been a week. I've been very sick. I've been coughing. Mucus is in my nose, my neck, and my chest. I'm wheezing. You know how like when mucus gets to your chest, you kind of wheeze a little bit." And what I thought it was, y'all, I thought it was some sort of virus because we all know about the bird flu virus, stomach virus that's going around right now. And I do hope everyone, by the way, while I'm on this tidbit and I'm on this topic of where I've been this first 2 weeks of January, I do hope that everybody stays safe. Sickness is real. This virus is real. People are out here really getting sick because it's we're going through the changes of weather, right? You're going through it being hot and cold in Georgia, right? I got a lot of my Georgia friends because we're here in Atlanta. A lot of our friends, we like, okay, Georgia, make up your mind. Are you going to be hot or are you going to be cold? You can't be both, right? Because that's why people are getting sick because one day they're going outside, it's like 70, 80 degrees, feels like. And then another day it's 20 degrees and you're going from hot to cold like that. That's how you can get sick. So I say that to say to a lot of people, if you're out there in the world, please be safe. There's nothing more important than your health. Because let me tell you, when you're sick, you can't do it a whole lot. And I was telling my parents and my family members, like it sucks being sick because you can't do anything. And for me now, I like to be super duper active, right? And if I can't be active, that aggravates the living hell out of me. I just cannot stand not being active, right? So, and I was telling that to my doctor. But what urged me to do go to urgent care again, I was waking up one night, cold sweats, hot, and I had a bad nightmare. I'm like, okay, something is really, really wrong with me. So the doctor comes in, and she didn't do any blood work, but she did some tests, and she analyzed me, took my pressure, and by the grace of God, because I say that because health is wealth. My heart rate was beating correctly. I was getting the right oxygen. My respiratory was good. My heart rate was good. My dietary was good. I was good. I felt like now I'm losing even more weight, as you guys can see. I look good. A little bit more because all I could eat the first 2 weeks of January was soup and tea. Um, and the nurse checked me out, and then the doctor comes in and said, "Yeah, no virus," which was great. Grace of God. No virus, no super important virus. No, you're not, you're not dying, right? But I suffered an upper respiratory infection. And basically what that is, y'all, what an upper respiratory infection is, it's when mucus is inflamed in your nasal and your inflamed. This is what we do. We drop it. It's inflamed in your nasal, down to your throat and a little bit of your chest. And when mucus is there, it's a lot of mucus. It clogs up your respiratory, and you get a little tired quicker because you're not getting enough air, right? My oxygen was good, but I'm not getting enough air. That's why I was dizzy and fatigued and very, very tired. And blowing out mucus. One of the things that I can't do, that I need to learn to do, because again, sickness is real. I could not cough up mucus by the life of me. And I say that, and hopefully I don't get too gross, but I like to be open, and transparent on the podcast. The one day I was sick, on one of those sick days, I tried to cough up mucus, and the mucus touched my throat. And everybody knows in science, when you touch your throat, you throw up. So it came quickly too. It was like I was coughing it up, and it said touched, and I was like, and it was a whole bunch of throw up, and I had to go run to my bathroom, and I was just puking it up because the mucus touched my throat, and I was gagging, and it was like, ugh, it was so gross. And then mucus was coming out my nose. It was a gross mess, y'all. That is what you call being sick. Um, so they said, hey, this is what it is. We're gonna prescribe you some medicine. You got to go pick it up from the pharmacy. You're gonna be fine in the next week. I'm like, ah, damn, I'm out for another week. Really? So I ended up going to the pharmacy to get those the prescribed medicine that I needed. And a week later, now I'm feeling much, 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 much better by the grace of God. So I still have minor cough. So you might hear me do like a minor cough in this podcast. I have next is what's called a globus sensation. So not harmful, not sickness. It's just kind of the aftermath of being sick, where my throat was inflamed, and it's sometimes it'll feel like a rock in my throat, but there's nothing, there's no sickness, there's no mucus there. It's just kind of a reflex that I'm dealing with. So the key remedy for that is hydration. But I've got my energy back, my strength back. Yesterday, I was able to go to the gym for the first time in the first 2 weeks. So I really hate doing that because, when you're sick, and I'm prone to work out a lot, and you have to sit it down for 2 weeks, and you're trying to get back into the workout, and you can't really get back into the workout because, well, you can, but it's slowly but surely, because you don't want your body to be in shock because you haven't lifted your normal weights in 2 weeks. You've been taking it easy for the last 2 weeks. That part sucks balls. It sucks. But I'm able to get back into it and to be very active. I love being active. I miss the gym too, so that's where I've been the first 2 weeks of the year. But by the way, and we'll get to the topics of conversation because I got some deep topics of conversations today. But hopefully you guys have been enjoying the content that we did the first 2 weeks. Now we did prime time in the morning. Shout out to Edith Sharp and Ruben Larkin. I just want to say to those two lovely, lovely podcast hosts, thank y'all for holding the fort down the first 2 weeks of January. We've been getting some great reviews for Primetime in the Morning. Everybody's been loving that show. So I am very, very blessed. I'm humbled that, the K.L.P Entertainment media company still continues on as I recover from the sickness that I had the first 2 weeks. So thank you to Edith and Ruben for holding the fort down and to make Eden Prime a good show. Still running, right? But it's amazing. I love that show. That show is really, really fun. And the first 2 weeks I can only hear it. I had other people in there putting it together, but just to hear the progress of the show is really good. So thank y'all for that. And the Browns. The Browns, it's out. First episode is out right now on any major audio platforms: YouTube, Facebook Watch, LinkedIn, and it's out on the audio platforms as well. But if you have Spotify, you might want to watch it more on Spotify because it is a video, and Spotify were able to do videos on that network. So we hope that you guys like the first episode. We are in works of this next episode, and that's what you get. It's about 3 to 7 minutes long on particularly not on a particular episode, but 3 to 7 minutes long. That is the target for the episodes, just to kind of give you guys a little bit more of a comedic relief when it comes down to it. The Browns, and I would say, I'll say this, guys, never say never with the Browns. You know, we have the potential to make the Browns 30-minute, 40-minute episodes, but we just don't have the bandwidth. And I think that's what I said in the keynote, or it was part of the keynote for the wrap up podcast. Go check that episode out, by the way. We just don't have the bandwidth right now to do 30, 40-minute episodes, or even to do a movie about the Browns, because we're working on so many other projects. But just to kind of give you guys a little extra content for K.L.P Entertainment. But like I say, never say never, right? Never say never when it comes down to it. Then we got something else, another announcement. I'm not going to announce the two ladies yet, not yet, but K.L.P Entertainment here in the radio station, we are working on a new podcast. This is something that I've been wanting to work on for months now. It's going to be an all-female podcast. I'm just producing. I have two lovely ladies that are great friends of mine. They're going to hop on a podcast together. We're still in the meeting phases, but I'm very, very excited about this project because I want K.L.P Entertainment to not only be a beacon here in Atlanta for podcasting and radio, but I want my ladies to have a voice, right? And we're trying to be in competition with the Poor Minds podcast. I listen to the Poor Minds podcast. Those ladies are awesome at what they do. They're also here in Atlanta. There's no shame on the Poor Minds podcast, but I want to be their competition. I'm always competing with somebody because it's fun for me. So these two lovely ladies, I see their stories a lot, and they post a lot of things that they're going through, whether it's relationships or it's life or it's job or it's college related or it's just personal life related. So I reached out to them and I said, hey, your voice needs to be heard. Your voice needs to have a outlet for you to express yourself, and K.L.P Entertainment can give that to you. So I can't wait to put that together. We got something going on for that. So you guys just gotta wait for it. And maybe, who knows, with those two lovely ladies, maybe I'll have them be on an episode with Evelyn Letitia on What Happened Was podcast. Shout out to Evelyn. New episode for us coming very soon. Evelyn understood because I told her because we were supposed to do a podcast last week and I couldn't because I was just tremendously sick last week. So we're going to bring that show back, of course, for this year. That show's not going anywhere. It's just had to recover from sickness. I told the two lovely ladies too about with their podcast. I said, hey, ladies, we're going to get it together. I'm a little sick right now, so I can't really do anything. One more announcement real quick, guys. I know this is not just an announcement video. This is a podcast, but I got to get the word out. Of course, January 17th. January 17th and February 14th. DJ Kennedy Lucas is back. Hallelujah. January 17th, kicking it old school. You guys tune in only on Mixcloud, by the way. I started to DJ, there's no secret, and kicking it old school is very, very exciting because I'm starting to DJ and I'm going to be playing some old school hits on January 17th. It's going to be about an hour long, maybe about 50 minutes long. Show there, only on Mixcloud. You got to go to mixcloud.com or the app, type in DJ Kennedy Lucas. We got over 300 followers, by the way. Shout out to y'all. I love y'all for that. So we're kicking it old school January 17th. And then on February 14th, we have Lovers and Friends. That is my Valentine's Day mix set that we're doing. So we're doing Kicking It Old School, playing old school hits set on January 17th. Lovers and Friends Valentine's set on Valentine's Day, the 14th. I cannot wait for both of them. I think I look forward. I love old school, but I look forward more to the Lovers and Friends in February because I'm big in R&B. It's going to be R&B kind of heavy because it's Lovers and Friends. It's Valentine's Day. But look forward for that as well, y'all. I'm super ecstatic about that. It's one of those things that it is quite amazing. as of the recording of today's episode, we're in the studio, but we're not snowed in. But today's a snow day. It's snowing here in Atlanta. So hopefully, because I got my new DJ board is getting delivered. So hopefully it doesn't get delayed, so I can make sure I can test it out and get things ready for the 17th of January and the 14th of February. But happy snow day. I left the house, and while leaving the house carefully, I saw a lot of kids outside playing in the snow. Obviously, the neighborhood that I live in, I won't say which county, but school was canceled, and a lot of people playing in the snow and having a good time. So I don't know. I love I love living in a neighborhood to where you get to see, not in a creepy way, but just to see family members and kids go out there and play in the snow, because that's something that I did when I was a kid. Not to say that I couldn't do it today, but I'm not going outside in the snow because number one, I just came from sickness, and number two, I don't like to be too cold for too long. But it feels good. I don't know, guys. It just feels good to see family members just kind of having a good time out there and just really doing their thing, because I do say life is short, and life is too precious to be depressed about some things. And while we're on the topic of conversation, I do want to send my heart's prayers and wishes to the folks out there in California. Um, California is going through it, and this is kind of a deep conversation that I want to have on the podcast, T, because I don't know. I talked to my little brother about this, and I talked a little bit to my friends about the same thing. So now I'm talking to our audiences here today on the podcast. Like I say, my heart well wishes and prayers to the people out there in California. If you guys have been living on a rock, California has been experiencing some wildfires the last few days, as of this recording. And I get very, very sad about this because fires, let me tell you, a house fire or a building fire is one of the most dangerous things that you can experience. Um, and that's why at my house we try to be very cautious on things, items in our car, right? We're cautious about make sure we turn things off, like the oven at home, the microwave, make sure that's not running, make sure that our wash and dryer doesn't overheat. Especially for me, because if you guys know, this is not a flex at all. Everybody knows this, but I had got a new vehicle. I got a new car. I got an EV. I got an electric vehicle. And I always got to make sure that when my car reaches the charge percentage, and I say to tidbit for everybody who has an EV, electric vehicle, charge your car at 80%. Never really charge it at 100 because you're going to blow your battery if you charge it at 100 every day. But I always make sure that when it reaches 80%, unplug it. Not to say that, it's not gonna do anything. It's just we're very cautious because house fires are very, very severe. So the last few days, I've been watching um, Instagram, TikTok videos, which we'll get to TikTok in a minute. YouTube videos. Folks are really losing their houses, and it makes me nervous for them because when you lose your house, you lose everything that you worked for. And you got to anticipate that, and I say this because whether you have some sort of house insurance, because everybody has some sort of rentals insurance or house insurance, insurance really don't cover for much. Sorry to say that about insurance companies, but it is true. Some insurance companies, they don't cover a whole lot. When growing up, when I lived in my first apartment, they say, hey, you can get renter's insurance, but it's not insuring your belongings. It's just insuring the building. So every expensive thing you got in there, we're not covering it. Sorry, you're shit out of luck, unfortunately. So, and certain renters insurance policies increases, right? Look, and I won't say what kind of car insurance I have, but you best believe my car insurance increases every month. Now, thankfully, and thank God, it really doesn't increase that much, but insurance companies know what they're doing. They're going to increase it every month. It's the same thing if you're renting a property, let's say a house or an apartment, you best believe that's going to get an increase. That's how they get you. right? So that's the sucky thing about it. Some people probably, and this is just my opinion, y'all. Some people who have renters insurance in California now due to the house fire, they'll say, hey, well, we're just insuring the spot, but everything you got in there, we're not covering that. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to just get it all over again later on. Right? And your policy might go up. Sorry, we're an insurance company. We can do that legally. That is it's kind of it's a little shitty, right? It's the bad thing to do about it. But I feel bad for people out there in California. I feel, and I say this very, very softly. I feel more sorry. Now I feel sorry for people in general. I feel sorry for the celebrities that lost their homes. But I gotta say, I think I feel a little bit more sorry for the folks who are not celebrities. The folks who working damn hard every day to just to afford living in California, right? Because you guys gotta think, and I say this because I read the articles, I read the news, I read the comments too. A lot of people, excuse me, a lot of people who say this about celebrities that lost their homes, they think, oh, they're celebrities, they're gonna get another house. That's easy for them, right? Part of that I believe, but sometimes I don't know, because some celebrities may have not made so much money to get what was their statured home. Now they might have to settle for less, right? Let me get this water in. Like I say, feeling much better, but that cough. Um, so that's how I feel about that. I feel for the folks who are not celebrities. Some of those folks who live in California probably worked at Universal Studios or Paramount Studios, right? Some of those folks may have make only the minimum wage. Maybe. I don't know. But they may make only the minimum wage that doesn't really cover because things, and I've been saying this on podcasts before, things are expensive now, right? Groceries, gas, utility, insurance, everything has gone up within the last recent years. There's no brainer there, right? So you can only imagine losing something like that and only making a certain amount of money. Your life probably won't be the same for a minute, right? What you're used to now, you got to pivot because of this. And I think that's why I say I feel more bad for the people who are not celebrities, who's not making multi-million-dollars a year, right? It's a sad occasion for that. I seen it on Media T. A lot of people, a lot of celebrities around the world. Hey, our condolences for LA, and that's a good thing. But now, I think with those celebrities who say my condolences, what are you gonna do, right? Because anybody can go to social media and say my condolences, or I'm sorry, I'm praying for you. I can't help you financially, but I'm praying for you because I posted it on social media, right? I got to have something to say, right? Because some celebrities do that now. Hey, that you can't knock the hustle, right? But so some celebrities, they do that to where when there's a tragedy, they're going to Instagram, they're going to X, they're tweeting up a storm. The blog sites are saying, podcasters are talking about it. But it's like, okay, when it's time to show up, though, what will you do? What would you do? Right? I think a lot of organizations, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but I'm thinking now this is where I put my business cap on. I think a lot of businesses, organizations that represents LA, they probably will create some sort of funding. Now we all know President Biden said the government's going to cover 100% cost of tragedies and losses in California. I think that's a great thing, honestly. And that's all I'm gonna say on that because I know a lot of people got their opinions with sending money out to foreign countries. I'm not gonna dabble into that. We're not a politics show, so I won't dabble into that part, y'all. But that's also a good feeling. But I think if you think of it, and I'm sure, and this is my business brain now, a lot of companies might pull up some money for some aid funding when it comes down to it, and then they could do a tax write-off, right? We're in January, tax season is almost here. Some companies probably will do that. right? But I do hope that they do it for the right reasons. A lot of people I do see, and I have seen it too on social media, y'all, where people, hotel chains and hotel vendors, they are preying on people who are in desperate times right now. Shame on you if you are that doing that. But I've seen a lot of hotels saying, "Hey, we got rooms, but we're gonna charge you astronomical for it." It's that's just the demand. There's a high demand right now, so you need a place to stay. You got no power, no food. We got a hotel down the street still open. We got plenty of rooms, but it's gonna be $500 a night, right? Shame on you if hotel. Because let me tell you, back in my hospitality days, we had one bad storm one time a couple years back in Atlanta, and the rate machine that the hospitality system used, we overcharged people because it was a high demand. And we knew we were going to get that money because people were desperate, right? Shame on you if you do that. Shame on you. But I've seen that happen in California, right? So I do pray for this. Now, here's the topic of conversation though, because I've seen it. Everybody's seen it on social media. Chris Brown had something to say about it, and it's not far fetched. And this is, I guess, this is an open-ended question to everybody out there. Do you think that this is a conspiracy theory? Right? Is this a conspiracy theory on global warming? Right? Because at that time, when the fire sparked, it was 9 days into January, 9 days into 2025, and we already got shit popping off. Right? We had first 9 days, we had the neo virus, the stomach flu, bird flu virus happening, popping out. Me being sick, but I'm important to our fan base, but I don't make millions and millions and millions of followers quite just yet. So nobody knows really who Kennedy Lucas is. But me being sick, there's a pun joke, and now we have the wildfire. And then we had snow, right? We got on the east side. It's so weird. The east side, we have snow. The west side, they have fires. And I saw in articles, again, this is just my thinking, guys. This is not factual facts, but just think about it. There were 4 fires miles apart from each other. California is a big state, miles away from each other. And they all started. I mean, do we think that something was planned? Do we think something was set up? How is this a quidinky dink? Right? Something ain't adding up with this. And I'm reading the articles, I'm reading the blogs. I'm like, some people got a point. Right? Some people got a point. Because the only thing I can think of, if a business, let's just say, and I'm not speculating, I'm not throwing allegations. This is just as a podcaster, we think about these things. If a business, let's say a studio, decides to perform arson, and I only done this from research, and then I played the game L.A. Noire. I played that game. That's a good game from Rockstar. And they had an arson section to where people would burn their places and get the insurance money to build something better, right? But hear me out. Do we think, let's say a studio, say, hey, we want to improve our studio. Because we do it. I do it here at K.L.P Studios. I don't do arson to get, no, I buy equipment and then I look at our budget and we get upgrades, right? But a business could, like the light kit that just tilted right here. That's an upgrade. A business like a studio can say, hey, we want a new and improved studio, but we necessarily don't have the budget to. Or we may not want to allocate funds for updates and upgrades. Because let me tell you, studios make they make billions of dollars. But when you pour $200 million into a movie and you only make $50 million, then you're at a loss. That's just basic economics, right? So when they take a loss of that amount of money, they may not have that money in the bank because they took a loss from a new recent movie that didn't do well. So they might say, okay, how can we get funding for this new and improved studio without A, spending our own dime, or B, spending money that we don't have? Well, let's just do, and I'm not saying that they did this, but let's just say we'll just burn it, right? Say it was a freak accident, it happens, we got insurance. Hey, give us the insurance money. Now we have money to build something newer. Quick, fast, and in a hurry, too. And when I say quick, fast, and a hurry, because some businesses, when something gets broken and they got insurance, you ever noticed, especially if it's a building, if a building has something happens to the building and they have building insurance and they build it really fast because they're employing more people to go back to like builders and construction workers and people who dabble in the industry, they're willing, they're ready, they need to work, right? And you notice how people build buildings really really quickly because there's a lot of money being placed. So they, hey, you give us this timeline to get this built, and you giving us how much? Okay, we'll go and get this done, right? Basic economics. Um, and then they get that new and improved building from the insurance money, so that way that business use insurance, right? Basic economics again. Insurance, when you pay a premium, and depending on the business really, but when you pay a premium for your insurance and something happens, you best believe insurance is going to make that return back to you, right? Because you already paid that premium. That's how insurance works. So I say all that to say it's not far fetched, right? It makes sense when you think about it. Now, I pray to God that that's not the case because I think that is inhumane. But I do got to say, it's something about it. These fires is just not adding up for sure. It's not. And another thing I noticed from the wildfires, I don't know. I think a lot of people are more calm in California. I would lose my shit if I had a house in California that I'm living in and it got burnt down. Excuse me, unfortunately because of the fire. And you see all the people on the news station, they're or maybe it's just the news stations that I've seen. They're so calm about it. Like, yeah, it sucks. Well, yeah, I had to pack 3 days worth of clothes, and I would have been on the floor crying. I probably would have won, and even if it was acting, I probably would have won an Oscar for it because I would have been dog balling, right? I would have been super depressed because it's my hard work, my California home with all my shit in it, and it's burned down, and I'm calm about it. Nah, yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? With that. So I don't know I found that to be a little weird. A lot of celebrities again, their houses get burnt down. I still stick to my guns. I think celebrities who are A-list celebrities, I think they're going to find a new house easy. They may not find a house that's big of their stature, or maybe they will. I don't know, but it's a lot of things that's at play with this. There was a lot of equipment needing to be used, and the thing about it too that sucks, people's vehicles. And I say that because news sources say that they needed type of machinery. I had to think of the word there. Type of machinery to get to the fires, and people were forced to leave their cars behind because traffic was so congested. People were not getting out. Right? They were not getting out. They were not leaving, and they were forced to get out of the cars and leave their cars and walk on foot. Let me tell you why this was also a bad thing, because safety is number one, right? If it comes down to life or death, I'm leaving my car behind if it's going to cause me to get hurt or killed, right? I'm going to leave that behind and worry about my safety because, like I say, life is too precious. I'll say that. But it also sucks because when your car is abandoned, I've seen it to where they're pushing cars out the way to get to the fires, which is necessary because they got to get to it, or the fire is going to spread. But now, if you leave your car behind and they're pushing your car, damaging your car, right? The fires will cease. Fires will dissipate and subdue, right? And things will go back to normal. Now you got to come back to your house being burnt down and you have a damaged car, right? Boy, insurance companies, they're going to make a whole lot of claims this month because now you got a damaged car that maybe you can take it to insurance companies and maybe you can get a check to get a new car, depending on your insurance company. They might say, well, we can't cover that. We can give you $100 for it. That's not even enough to get an oil change in some of these vehicles, right? So now you got to score money for a new house and a new car, depending on how damaged your car is, right? I don't know. Am I the only one who's thinking about these things, right? You got to think logical about these things because I've seen it. The bulldozer, they had a bulldozer or some sort of machine, and the machine was just pushing cars out, just damaging the cars out the way. Understandable because they got to do their job. I get it. But that's people's property that they have to come back to eventually. Right? It just, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. So like I say, I'm praying for California, man. I'm praying that things get better with California. Would I move to California? No. I would visit California for sure, but I wouldn't move to California. That's too much to me. We'll stay here on the east side. The most we get is snow, right? I'd rather snow than a fire any day. But like I say, my prayers go out to Californians in there. But I want people to think about this. I want people to think about it for sure. Think about it, y'all. Think about it because it's real. These things happen. Speaking of what's getting real, and I try not to talk about kind of depressing news on the podcast because I do have some positives to talk about in a second. TikTok. So the latest in TikTok, y'all. As of right now, and it sucks because I say this, and I think I got the title of this episode is Basic Economics. That's gonna be the title of this episode because this is another economic talk a little bit. Now, TikTok has been in the news lately, and we didn't know a whole heck of a lot when it comes down to content creating because obviously I do post snippets and clips of not only this show, but the Browns, What Happened Was podcast, and like my movie stuff that we got going on. I post stuff like that on TikTok as well because TikTok and my fitness videos too. TikTok gives me a lot of views, right? I may not can say I can quit my day job to be a TikToker, but TikTok brings in some good views and I love it, right? Do I think TikTok has some very risque content on it? Yes. I think there's a lot of it going on, which is kind of sad. And you kind of have to be careful what you look at, right? Because people are watching, right? But it's kind of a sad thing that TikTok, as of right now, looks like it's going to get banned next week. I'm sad about it because TikTok was so cool. Shout out to my mama. My mama buys items from TikTok, from the TikTok shop, a whole heck of a lot because she loves it. And I wonder how my mama feel about it because with TikTok ban, she can't shop on TikTok shops no more, right? And I say this as a basic economics forum because you'd be surprised. People are finding ways to find jobs, right? Honestly, the job market is hard, is difficult because of, inflation and all of these things. A lot of academic people like myself who got 2 degrees can't get the super perfect job. I feel like I'm in a good spot now, but like I'm just saying in general, people with degrees want to get that corporate job and they can't get it. And they're like, damn, what did I go to school for then? I get it. folks find ways to make money, whether it's content creating, whether it's TikTok. And honestly, people make money on OnlyFans too. I would never do OnlyFans, but people are making millions on OnlyFans for real. And it's a sad dynamic because TikTok is a way for us to kind of escape the world for a second, right? For me, when I'm in the office or in the studio, which I have fun, but I have other business ventures that we do, sometimes it can get a little stressful, right? I'm not gonna lie to you guys and say now trust me, I love making movies, but movie making can be stressful. I think the stressful part of making a movie is the distribution part. That is the most stressful and tedious thing ever. Still so tedious. So when I'm stressed out and doing some things, then I escape to TikTok, right? I need a good laugh, whether it's TikTok or Facebook Watch, right? Facebook Watch has been pretty booming because they have some funny videos on Facebook Watch. And I'm curled up in the bed and I'm just, I'm watching a Facebook Watch video and I'm relaxing, right? It is a sad dynamic because this is something that TikTok was something that made a lot of money, first and foremost. A lot of people made it their job to be content creators and to do funny videos and stuff. I like the funniness of it. I know a lot of people do beauty videos. I don't know. I get kind of annoyed with the beauty videos because you have somebody who is like talking about like a vlog and they're just like, so I went to the mall the other day and I did this and then they told me this and then they did this and I don't know. I just can't, I just like, oh, okay, I can't watch this for too much longer. But the funny videos I like. Podcasters, when they post their content, I love that. Business tips, I love that. But people make money, right? People made money doing TikTok, right? And for us being media people, but companies utilizes TikTok for mass communication. That's telecommunications right there is TikTok. I feel like a lot of YouTubers, they relied more on TikTok because I've seen a lot of YouTubers lately, right? A lot of YouTubers lately, if you're not a Mr. Beast or who's Mr. Boss or Logan Paul or who's a big one or the FaZe Clan, and even I think the FaZe Clan, they kind of like, I don't know, we ain't hitting like we used to, right? But a lot of the other YouTubers, they're starting to realize like, YouTube ain't really hitting like it used to. So then they turn to TikTok because they see that there's more of a revenue stream on TikTok. And now that TikTok unfortunately has this thing to where it might be banned. And I say might because, things could change. But as of right now, it's not looking good for us in US for TikTok. And it sucks because, I got over 4,000 followers on TikTok and I post a lot of them, especially my fitness videos. Let me tell you, my fitness videos, over 300 video views on some of them. One of them had over 700 views. I was really proud of that one, right? It was cool. But now they're taking that away from us, right? And I feel bad about it. I feel very sad about people who relied on TikTok as their income. I would never do it per se, but it's one of those sayings, like, if you love it, then I like it. If you like it, I'm here for you. I personally wouldn't. For financial, I wouldn't, because there's a lot of it's a numbers game. It's ups and downs, and for me, I like the stability, and I like to make sure my numbers hidden even if it's just a little bit the same or a little bit higher, so that way I know I'm guaranteed financial gaining. I like that stability. I like that more than, all right, we can be creative, but we might be up here, but next month we might be right here. And then the next month we might be right here. And then the next month we might be up here, but we might go here. Right? And then you got to pivot a whole lot. It's a little risky for me. But people do rely on that. And so, by all means, I hope everybody, look, I hope everybody do it. I hope everybody do it really well. So shout out to TikTokers. All right, so I wanted to talk about this because we wrote about it at the Lucas Tribune. By the way, guys, check out our new it used to be Kennedy Lucas Publishing, but we're rebranding again for the next year. The Lucas Tribune is our newest blog article website that you guys can read about our blogs and articles. Of course, you guys can go to our Instagram. It is the Lucas Tribune. It has the logo of LT on it. That is the blog site, and the Instagram. That's the Instagram handle. You go there, you get to see what we're posting, and then in the link, the link in the bio, you click that link, and then it directs you to the website, the Lucas Tribune, so that way you guys don't miss out on the latest blog article. Now, I would not be remiss if I didn't talk about this because this is kind of a little bit of my childhood, but I'm very, very excited about this, and I wanted to talk about how important this is for sports. Now, if you guys don't know this about me by now, I am a WWE fan. I did watch Raw on Netflix. Finally, I get to watch wrestling and not worry about cable. This is why I haven't been watching Raw or SmackDown because it was on cable TV, right? At my house, I don't have cable. We stream everything because it's cheaper. I don't see why people still have cable TV. It's a whole heck of a lot of money, and it just doesn't really offer a whole lot, in my opinion. That's why we became a streaming household at the Kennedy Lucas home. And I loved it. I love what they brought to the table with Raw on Netflix. Again, I won't dabble too much about the show because that's not the purpose of this topic of conversation. The purpose of the topic of the conversation is how important sports will be on the streaming network. And it has been doing it for a while, right? With football on Prime Video or ESPN or sometimes Peacock, right? A lot of these sports outlets, they're getting ready to figure out, okay, streaming is the way to go. And I want to say the WWE gets it, but I feel like they're still late to this game. And maybe because there's a lot of money to be made still in cable, I can't wait until SmackDown and NXT comes to streaming. That's why I don't watch those shows on the regular. I always catch up on YouTube or Facebook or on their Instagram of what I missed because I don't have cable. There's no way for me to watch SmackDown and NXT. But now Raw is now on Netflix. So you best believe that every Monday after work, I'm going to be at home parked on my couch watching it at 8 p.m. every Monday night, because I get to watch it, right? Obviously, yes, I have Netflix, and the dynamic of it was good. The camera for Raw was amazing. It looked like they used an 8K camera. They got a lot of fixings to do, right? Because the commentary would come in and out sometimes. They got to fix that. I don't really like the drone shots. I like the drone concept, but I don't think the quality of the drone is up to par, which is kind of jarring to me because WWE is a billion dollar company, so they can afford a better drone. But I think it's a lot more technology focused things that maybe I don't understand or don't get within their business model. That drone shot, you guys could do better because you're WWE. You got the money to get a really, really nice drone. That way, if you're utilizing that drone footage live, it's clearer. That's just my opinion, right? But the concept of it, it was there. It was amazing. I'm here for it. Really, 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 really dope. Of course, The Rock comes in. I was a little bit confused because he was the final boss, and now he's kind of a cheesehead. And I mean this respectfully, but he was kind of the face that night. I don't know what the angle here. Maybe it gets me excited, it keeps me on my toes because we don't know what The Rock's thinking, right? Pat McAfee. I love Pat McAfee. I watched Pat McAfee show. I listened to his podcast, and now him being on Raw. Look, Pat McAfee is the man, right? Because he's raw, pun intended. He's unfiltered, and I love it. I love it when he was talking to Dom Mysterio, and he was like, "What?" And then Michael Cole goes, "What did he say?" Yeah, I don't know. He was saying this, and I don't speak bitch. And I laughed my ass off. Monica was like, "What you laughing at?" Like Pat McAfee being funny on Raw. So My topic of conversation, T, not to talk about the show because you can read about it. We wrote about it. The topic of this is why it's important, and I hope ESPN and Prime Video, who's another big player, maybe Peacock, but Peacock got the sports. I hope every sports outlet is listening because it's so important. The streaming era of sports is here. If I was ESPN, and I'm harping on ESPN because I worked for ESPN for a little bit, and I like their business model. I like ESPN Plus. I'm able to watch ESPN Plus with some of the games. I got two hookups. I ain't gonna name my sources, but I watch ESPN. And if I was ESPN, right? Because you got ESPN is ESPN. I would figure out with WWE how can we get SmackDown or NXT streaming on ESPN? How do we do it? How much money does it take? Because Netflix got something. Netflix, if you guys remember, got a $5 billion deal with WWE for Raw. That's money. And Pat McAfee on the Pat McAfee show, because I listened to this show too. Loved the show. Just loved the whole thing. He said there was big money at the Intuit Dome. Big money at the Intuit Dome. Not only you had celebrities, but you had Netflix executives there. And you had WWE executives there. Big money was in that building. Which makes sense. If I was ESPN, I would be calling Nick Khan and Paul Levesque, Triple H, what's it going to take to get one of NXT or SmackDown on ESPN Plus? What's it going to take? Because Netflix finalizes the formula. They're gonna make buku's money from this deal. I believe it. Because now you're able to have a viewage a little bit more than what you do. Because Triple H said it on the Pat McAfee show when they did their show. You hear the term Netflix and chill. You're not gonna see, I'm gonna go USA Network and chill, or I'm gonna go CBS and chill. Netflix and chill. Right? Because Triple H has this thing to where a lot of the younger audiences, we stream everything. I said it a few seconds ago. My house, we do not have cable. It's expensive. We find ways to watch our sports. Hey, let's just get the ESPN app, Peacock and Netflix. Boom, there you go. Bob's your uncle. That's how we get our streaming content. That's how we're able to see games and sports shows because of these networks. It's accessible by your phone. So it would behoove them, ESPN, and I'm harping on ESPN, right? Because I love ESPN. This is a gold mine for them to see how can they get some sort of WWE on their platform. If not SmackDown, what about NXT then? Right? Because on ESPN Plus, because again, I worked for ESPN and I stream content from ESPN before. The allocation of that and to be on an app and on a big network and to have for us, we did it at a collegiate level, so we had family and friends, members of the institution watching. That was a cool feeling. But just imagine wrestling on ESPN. Now you're global, right? Now you're reaching more of an audiences for not only the old school audiences, but now you got younger audiences because we got the streaming networks. We're all about streaming, right? It is a gold mine for them to do it, right? And for ESPN, I don't want to say to stream on ESPN is easy because it's not easy. But you got a lot of the colleges that are streaming on there too. And I don't want to say that some colleges are super low ranked, but you got a lot of Division III colleges, and I don't mean that as an insult, but like you got Division III colleges that may not have that big funding that WWE has streaming on ESPN Plus, right? I've seen a lot of college games where these colleges that I've never heard of before, they're streaming on this network. Right? So that's why I put it in the mindset that I think WWE could get this. I think ESPN and WWE can merge together for a show. If these Division III, and again, it's not an insult to Division III schools. It's not an insult. But like, if Division III schools can get streaming on ESPN, I'm damn sure WWE can get streaming on ESPN. And the reason why I want this, because I want to watch SmackDown. I want to watch NXT, but I don't want to have to go and pay $80 a month in cable just to watch these two shows. Right? And that's why people miss these shows, and they flip on their Instagram because they post recaps. That's how I'm able to see what I missed. You know, it's easy. I think WWE can get it. WWE, if you need a marketing guy for hire, I'm always interested for the opportunity. But really, I think they could get this deal done. I don't see the WWE swaying away from Peacock, because Peacock, that's NBC. They got a lot of money. They got a lot of pulling now. I don't see that going anywhere. But you really got to understand that this is the caliber that I think that they should be on, especially for ESPN. ESPN, if you need a marketing guy or a videographer for ESPN, because I love to do that too, call me up, right? But in reality, you guys can do this, right? And that's just business. I think you can get this a lot of pull. I think you can get a lot of swing of this as well. Shout out to GGC. I think GGC with basketball coming around the corner. I can't wait to see what conference basketball will be in. I think it's going to be in the Continental Conference. I think they're going to be in, because all their other sports are. But hey, GGC athletics, if y'all get to ESPN, look, I think they should, but that's a taller conversation. That's above my pay grade. But shout out to ESPN, shout out to WWE. Raw streams on Netflix not a sponsor, but Raw streams on Netflix every Monday at 8. And I love to make these. I like to watch it because I can talk about it here on the podcast. So that's going to wrap it up here on our podcast episode. I love y'all. Thank y'all for y'all's patience. I know, this sickness, I'm glad that I'm feeling much better. I do say from the bottom of my heart, I do love you guys. Please stay safe. It is January. It's the new year. A lot of craziness is happening so far, 9 days into the year. The cold flu infections, viruses, they're going around because it's wintertime. So guys, stay safe. Don't be so close to people. Don't do a lot of touchy, feely unless you're in a relationship. Distance yourself a little bit, because the virus is real. I had an infection. That was real. That was not fun to do. So I say, stay safe out there, y'all, because people are getting sick. Well, we love you guys. Stay tuned. The rest of the week, we're going to be back here to do another episode. At the end of this next coming week, What Happened Was podcast will be uploaded with the latest episode of 2025. I can't wait to have Evelyn back here in the studio, live and well. And we love you guys. Stay tuned for more podcasting coming from us this week, and content coming out from us this week. And of course, look forward January 17th. I want to say that's next week. We're kicking it old school. My old school DJ mix set. We're going to be doing it live, doing a live set. So I can't wait for you guys for that as well. That's going to wrap it up here on an hour-long podcast. I've been your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas. Stay safe. Stay swanky. Peace.
Go! What's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P. Entertainment and K.L.P. Studios. Go! It's K.L.P. Aftermath. Morning with your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas and Rocco Styles.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go.